God, it can't feel good to be in Powder's shoes either. He's got to feel a little nervous, a little nerve-wracked here. You know, he has to win this game. All the pressure is on him, and Dog has been bringing it to him here.
Yeah, game number 4 is getting underway as we speak. Dog is on match point, and this is the final chance for Powder in this season. If he's going to stay alive, it starts now.
Yeah, is this the last game we're going to see from Powder?
Paladin, honestly, is not a surprising pick to me from Powder. I know that he loves playing this deck, plays it very well also, and I think it matches up. You know, clearly he doesn't have a strong read on Dog at the moment. You know, this deck, I feel like, matches up pretty well against everything. It feels a lot like Druid.
Yeah, this is something we've seen Dog do multiple times this season, where he'll play a deck a few games in a row, and then expecting his opponent to try to counter that deck, he'll bring something to, you know, kind of go over the top of you and go that one step further.
Yeah. So Zombie Chow answered pretty easily. The Shielded Minibot, not quite as easily, though.
Yep, and again, this is the problem that you're always going to run into when you're playing against Warrior is what deck are they playing, because you can't find out very easily for the first 4 or 5 turns.
Yeah. It's probably got a good idea now.
Just great use of Slam here. Actually gets a draw card when you slam a 2/2 minion.
Yeah, it does have to forego the Armor Smith, though, so Powder able to get something on board.
I think he's perfectly okay with that, though. This Eldar Peacekeeper, not too good right now.
Yeah, is there a world where Eldar Peacekeeper would not getting the battle cry is ever correct?
I mean, if you like know it's the control deck, maybe. If you think their hand is just all removal spells, you just need to get a 3/3 threat out there.
Now, you can see Powder a little taken aback by that second Fiery War Axe. No good action from him. He's hero power and pass.
You can hold on these True Silver Champions just a little bit. I mean, they're so good in the Patron matchup.
Yeah, didn't want to see 2 Armor Smiths this turn. I think one of them he was okay with, but now no matter what, Dog is going to start making some grad.
Yeah, he's realizing this is kind of sealing his fate on his season.
Will start chipping away finally, though. You know, the True Silver Champion is going to buy him back some of the lost card advantage at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be a 2-for-1.
Yeah, and with Dr. Boom and Lay on Hands still in the background, you know, this isn't out of reach yet.
Yeah, he's not going to care about the restoring 8 health part of Lay on Hands. Getting the 3 cards is a big deal here. And Harrison Jones, pretty good timed.
Yeah, it's painful. Is this the time, though? You know, because again, if he feels like that Powder's going to just swing the True Silver Champion into this, you know, maybe what Dog's actually looking for is extra card draw in this game. So say he holds onto the Harrison Jones and actually gets a Light's Justice for it.
Yeah, I mean, he's also just getting enough value here. He also just might be holding it for Ashbringer as well, and knowing that's something that's probably going to happen in this match, and it's hard to deal with. You know, 15 damage is a lot to be giving up. So I actually love his play here, because if you're going to be able to trade an Armor Smith here for this card with your hand the way it is, I think you're fine with it.
Yeah, Powder not going to set a True Silver Champion. That would, you know, this is pretty darn close to a trap for Powder also. He just didn't see a Harrison Jones, so maybe he feels comfortable just investing the 4 mana and sitting on it for tempo. That play would have gotten absolutely punished. So him holding on to it here, actually making a very big difference in this game.
That's a pretty good draw for Powder here. He's going to be able to make another 1/1 and then make them all 3/3s here.
Yeah, that was about the best draw on the deck. You can see Dog a little bit frustrated with that one, but didn't have a strong way to play around this. And he has Brawl to follow up, so not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, he's got Brawl to follow up, plus, you know, he still has his Fiery War Axe to clean up whatever's left over, and that'll allow him to go into his big turns on relatively clean boards here. You know, this Dr. Boom is going to hit here.
So 3/2 gets kept.
Probably going to take care of it and armor up.
Yep. That sets up the shield slam for next turn.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the big difference here so far has been card advantage. Dog has slightly more of it, I would say, than Powder does. But Powder does have opportunities to start making this ground up again. Again, Dr. Boom and Lay on Hands, you know, say this goes unchecked for a turn. Madness is happening afterwards. Dog happens to have the answer to it this turn, but then he can still follow this up. You know, Lay on Hands, the heal in this matchup isn't the important part. It's the extra 3 cards.
Yeah. And you see Dog kind of, you know, going over a couple other cards with hand, doing what we talked about what Powder was doing earlier in the match. Not giving away information. In fact, giving away misinformation here, showing, you know, I have a lot of options to think about how I want to kill this Dr. Boom.
Yep, so Execute going to make swift work of it. Powder, Tyrion would be mighty good right here. Consecration, on the other hand, is not.
Yeah, you gotta believe he's just gonna draw some cards here.
Yeah, needs extra gas in the tank.
Yep, gain 1 life, draw 3 cards, 8 mana.
It's not so bad.
Yeah, I've seen worse.
It's like a sprint.
Yeah, I've seen worse.
No, oftentimes you have to use a preparation to sprint anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, gaining 3 mana might be worth a card half the time.
No. No.
And this card is
3 mana's never helped anybody.
This card's pretty hard to deal with usually out of that warrior deck against Paladin, but you see Powder already has an equality.
Yeah. It's a little bit unfortunate that he has to use equality on one single threat, but this one is a major threat.
Yeah, you cannot let Ysera dream too often. He picks up some extra cards that are pretty good here too. He can, you know, Knife Juggler and Pilot a Shredder if he wants. He can get a Sludge Belcher into play to protect his Knife Juggler from weapons. You know, he's making some headway here.
So now I'm curious, if he was going to play the Knife Juggler, why did he use the Boombot?
Yeah, you should have maybe tried to get the free one here.
I feel like just little bit of added pressure is affecting Powder just slightly.
Might be underthinking some situations.
He's playing a little bit faster, I think, than I would like to see him play with a situation this big.
Man, Emerald Drake is just gigantic.
Yeah, well, it's just gigantic enough. Yeah. So Powder's pretty happy to see a 7-power minion at this point, I think.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to use your big game hunter here? You know, are you going to get a better shot at something later? You know, do you need to hold onto it for Alexstrasza, 10-power Grom, you know, something like that, or can you just get through it easier this way?
Step number 1 is swing at the Shield Maiden.
Yeah, he's going to let this Boombot do some work here.
I think with Aldor Peacekeeper instead here. I don't blame him for this. I think all of his juggles are pretty darn good. The Aldor Peacekeeper, again, handles this very nicely, and there are bigger threats that you're going to have a harder time dealing with. Like, say Ragnaros hits the board. Aldor Peacekeeper doesn't do very much against that card.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way he plays. I would have definitely kept my big game hunter in this situation. There's no reason to just jam this out there in that spot.
Deathspite first, and likely to hold on to this Harrison Jones. I mean, he's been holding it. He held it on the first True Silver Champion. Why would he use it now?
Yeah, he's holding on to it for Ashbringer. You know, Tyrion is kind of, you know, their big play, their big trump. It's so hard to get rid of the card, and then when you do, it leaves behind 15 damage.
This is actually really funny, too. This is what Sho mentioned earlier. When they kill the Death Lord, you follow it with Brawl. And Piloted Sky Golem does add some resilience to this board, but at the end of the day, Brawl's pretty much going to take care of everything.
He's going to fill up his board here, too.
Wants that juggle. Now where do you go? Yeah, I think Knife Juggler's run its course. I can get behind that.
I'm not sure if I would. I would maybe run the Boombot in here, see what happens. Maybe use my True Silver or one of my Silver Hand Recruits to finish this thing off here. You can choose True Silver here now if you want.
Yeah, I think I like holding it. You know, this does hedge against Brawl a little bit. And you're using 1 health minions. You're keeping yourself not vulnerable to the Deathspite activation. Yeah, Dog's going to have to force second Brawl here now.
You know, a few things are going to be left over here. Just have a Piloted Sky Golem and a Shredder.
Oh, Nelly. That is dangerous.
Oh, boy. This leads to some fun interactions. That's a low Walker Cho.
Yeah, this game just got interesting.
I actually saw a game the other day where there's a low Walker Cho on both sides of the board.
Now, Dog could make this a lot less interesting. He could just attack the Lore Walker Cho.
Yeah.
But he's going to be forced to take 6 damage first instead.
Ooh, a Wailing Soul gets left over. It's a 3/5.
3/5 is not too shabby, and he is going to be able to chew through this Death Lord as well. And Dog, again, he's out of Brawls at this point, so Powder, this is like the floodgates are now open. He's free to add as much pressure as he wants.
Now, it is going to be interesting to see if he chooses for this, how he chooses to do this, because if he uses Consecration or Muscle for Battle, Dog gets a copy of the card.
That is an excellent point. That might make this decision a little bit harder.
Yeah, it's going to make this turn really hard.
And do you care if your opponent has a Consecration here, though? Are they going to Consecrate and give it right back to you?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess you're going to just make an anti-heal bot maybe and start attacking, but I mean, I wouldn't give them a Muster for Battle for sure. He fights too well against what you're trying to do with your deck. Maybe he's Powder thinking about this the only way he can win this game, though, is if he gets through this Death Lord this turn.
You know, what does your opponent get from Muster for Battle here? You know, again, if they want to cast it without killing the Lore Walker Cho, they give it back to you. He's going to forego it.
Yeah, just giving them a Muster for Battle, though, it starts to really pick at, like, one of your main ways to win this game. That's just continually making 1/1s every game. I mean, every turn. And eventually you start to whittle down Dog's resources.
This little panda is creating so much pandemonium right now.
It always does every time it comes into play. I mean, it's so weird to play against because honestly, when do you ever see this card?
You don't. That's what's so weird about it. I don't know. I don't actually know what the right play is here because I feel like if Powder gives him a muster for battle, it's like, so what? Yeah. But at the same time, the last thing I want to be doing is giving my opponent extra cards.
Yeah, it looks like the Panda might have run its course here. Powder's in a situation where...
Yeah, Harrison Jones is...
yeah, he can kill on his own terms now.
That's a pretty darn big
Does he want to
deck.
attack with his 1/1 here first?
I don't think it matters. No, he actually doesn't because he wants the minion to come out after the World Effect.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Knife Juggler's pretty good.
Sees itself.
It sees the Harrison Jones. The battle cry happens.
Oh yeah, it goes in that
weird
order.
Interaction. I wish there was a comprehensive rulebook for that.
Yeah, because it seems like it's not continuous for every card.
It does not feel consistent across the board. I mean, you can find out what they all are, but you have to Google and scour Reddit. Yeah. So like the last thing I want to be doing. I want to play Hearthstone, man. Powder with a fantastic looking board state now. I mean, look at how much pressure has been put on Dog in just 1 or 2 turns. And he's already been forced to use both of his brawls. So the Deathlord in this spot is strictly a liability.
Sludge Belcher, a welcome addition here, but is it going to be enough to hold off Powder's assault here?
Yeah, he's got a Harrison. He's got to pick up 3 cards.
That belongs in a museum.
If he can get there, Baron Geddon might be pretty good.
Yep, Execute Shield Slam's going to buy him a little bit more time.
Yeah, he can gain a lot of life over his next couple turns. He's got double Sludge Belcher and a Shield Maiden.
Yeah, Powder's only got access to 9 damage right now. So this is still within reach.
God, what a grindy game here.
Feels like every Paladin versus Warrior game.
Yeah.
You get 2 guys with giant armor slugging it out.
Whole bunch of weapons. Yeah, Consecration, you're usually not going to get too good of a spot to cast this in this matchup.
He's already used Equality. Could definitely use the space on his board. But do you need to use it? I feel like if we just push... Like, your opponent has to be the one attacking your minions right now.
Right.
Like this Harrison's doing nothing. It's just a 5/4.
I wouldn't hate running 1 Silverhand Recruit into it. But if you're going to Consecration, you're going to run more than 1. I mean, you're going to run the 1 into it, of course. I mean, like, if you do just 1 and pass, you know, he's most likely to trade for your anti-Keel bot.
So, Dog set to 8. But this is a fantastic Baron Geddon. And with that Alex Straza draw, you know, he's actually looking like he could recover in this game.
Yeah, Powder is a pretty good turn for himself as well. He's going to be able to get this big game hunter going.
Are there any draws that are actually lethal in this spot?
I don't think so.
Both True Silvers are gone.
Yeah, there's not a lot of reach in these decks.
Yeah, Big Game Hunter follows up on Baron Geddon pretty darn nicely.
Yeah, he's going to develop an entire board here.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Straza, maybe it was looking like he could get this done, but I think this is just too much pressure. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points of damage from Powder. I mean, Dog has to be worried about Quartermaster and Consecration in this spot. He's going to have to play 2 Sludge Belchers instead.
Yep. Again, Powder's going to have to chew through all this stuff again. I'll say he could top deck an Owl, though.
Yeah, Owl will... I think that ends this game 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 4, 5, 6. Yep, Owl ends the game. So does Consecration. Consecration also gives him a lot of ability to push through this kind of board.
And it's only fitting that we go to a game 5 here. Powder gets to play for his life.
What a grindy game this one was. And so many different decisions could have been made this game, too. That's the other interesting thing to me. You know, to see Dog hang on to Harrison Jones for so long, it certainly looks a little bit strange, but obviously he has bigger plans in mind. You know, you mentioned it. Tyrion's a big trump card in this matchup, and at the same time, drawing extra cards from the Lights Justice off muster for battle, that could be a big difference in this game. I mean,
I think that's the biggest part there, is he wants to either get maximum amount of cards, something like 3 cards off of the Lights Justice from a muster for battle, or he's waiting, as we said, to take care of Tyrion, because that minion is so hard to deal with out of Warrior. You're trying to 1-for-1 them to death and then get your little increments of card advantage. That card is worth so many cards from your deck, though.